All right, so the lady I'm going to introduce to you now, her name's Alice Haemmerle. Now, Alice is in like my top awesome people in the whole world. All right, and I've got some pretty awesome people that sort of sit up there in that awesome little group. And I'm building you up massively, so gosh, sorry. But yeah, I would actually say that Alice is in the top 5 speakers that I would go and see out of everybody I know in the whole world, including Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, all them. That's how high in esteem I hold Alice Haemmerle. Alice was actually my NLP teacher way back when, about 3 years ago. Basically changed my life as far as the way that I live my life and the way that I see things happen in my life. And she now inspires not only business people, but she now is connecting, I guess, students through to mentors to people all around the world. So it's truly amazing. She has a mission to just give and give and give and help people, and it comes from the most beautiful place. So why don't we put our hands together for Alice Haemmerle.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Stephen. Good morning. How are you all? I'll go to the stage because I'm so tall. Okay, so, and then I'm going to come down because I'm not used to being on the stage. How is everyone? Yes? Great. I'm very, very excited. I was here 2 years ago, and to see Stephen build his vision to really help and assist the Illawarra community and businesses. He's got a mission and vision for you. So I've driven down from Mona Vale. It is a bit of a way, 2 hours. But what I want to do today, only got an hour and a half with you. So what I wanted to focus on was leadership, teams. My specialty is being able to read in an instant a human being. What is their character, what are they doing, and how to get them to perform. That's my thing. So I have in your manual, I've got called a playbook. And I want to get the best out of you as I possibly can in an hour and a half. And I put some strategies and some ideas in there. But I first say, before we do that, I want to give you 3 different metaphors of which you can choose to connect with. Firstly, my background is a classical singer, an opera singer, and also choral music. So if I could have made a living as a choral singer, I would have done it. My background, I've got my degrees and my master's degree in performance, and I sang in Vienna. And I arrived in Australia for love and started singing here and taught at the Conservatorium of Music on faculty for years. Started a singing school in Manly called the Sydney Vocal Arts Centre. Started off with a choir called the Manly Children's Choir because children weren't singing when I arrived. I thought, how can children not be singing? So started with 40 little children, some on their laps of their parents, terrified to audition. And in a couple of years, my girlfriend and I, we had them singing at the Angel Place, recording and doing at least 10 to 12 carols by candlelight around the city. So they're beautiful, and all these young children are now 19 to 24 years old, and some of them are really great names, you know. The guy from the Wiggles, not the Wiggles, from High Five, Tim. Yeah, he's one of my students, and there's a whole group of other ones. Point being is that, you know, when I came here in 1995, 1996, I didn't really know this new journey that I would start. So my vision was always singing. And what I'd like to do is to give you a metaphor around the singing, because I believe as a leader, you need to find your metaphor. You need to find your story of what type of a leader you want to be. So one of the metaphors I want to share with you is, as a singer, I had the privilege to work with jazz musicians, great orchestral conductors like Claudio Abbado, whether you know the names, and all these big names, yes, and we've got all the choral conductors like Nicholas Harnoncourt, and these were my mentors and the conductors that would take anywhere between 20 voices to 200 voices and get us singing with an orchestra sometimes of 250 doing the Beethoven Symphony No. 5. So what I want to share with you is there are different ways that you can be that leader if you choose to be a conductor. But the other type of conductor or the type of leader you might want to be is someone in sports. Because my background as well, in 2000 I started studying NLP, and the NLP was for me to work with the singers to help them with performance anxiety. And as I started to work with the singers, they started to tell their friends and their family, and some of them told their partners, and one of their partners was a man called Julian Prosser. Julian Prosser, beach volleyball superstar. So he and Carrie Pothorst were my first clients in sport. So I worked with Carrie Pothorst, and I worked with Julian Prosser and Mark Williams to go to the Athens Olympics. And I'd never worked with Olympians before. And with that, I learned how to start working with high-performing teams. So I worked with Olympic teams, from canoers to kayakers to rugby players, and Des Hasler and I know each other very well. Point being, you might choose to be a leader, like a sports leader. What do you think? So the other type of leader, how many of you are parents? Anyone have a family? My husband and I right now, we say we're giving birth to a new baby. I've got a new business that is beginning tomorrow and getting launched tomorrow. I've got 3 different cities I'm going to: Melbourne, Perth, and here in Sydney. And I have a free event tomorrow called an academy, a mentoring academy. And I'm looking for an army, literally. I believe it's time for an education evolution, not a revolution, because we don't want chaos. It's an evolution of education that needs to happen. And I said, I've been looking at this for the last many, many years about how do we change the education system to where we actually install leadership, individual leadership in the person from a very young age, to where they're able to make decisions for themselves, to know why they're learning something, and more importantly, they learn how to think. Because when you learn how to think, you can make decisions. When you learn how to think, you can actually help people in business. But majority of people don't know how to think. They don't know how to make a decision. They don't know how to follow through. They don't know how to implement, because they're taught how to rote learn. So I'm on a mission very much to gather as the best trainers, coaches, and facilitators in the country, because I've got a global platform. We're going around the world with the C-suite, and then I've got also the kids to the high school, to the university. So that's what I've been busy doing over the last couple of years. And now it's time for the Army to come together. That way we can create a grassroots movement. So that's my vision, that's my mission. Because what I've been seeing is that leadership is really falling, and we can see it by the leaders of the country and the leaders of the world currently. People don't know who to follow, and they don't know who to trust. So I believe that business is where it starts. Each of you has a business. So first, kudos to you, because you've stepped up to the plate. Many people don't. They want to sit on the sidelines and watch as a spectator and watch the game being played. When you watch the game being played, you can judge the game, but you never get in the game. In fact, you don't even know the rules of the game. When I look what Steven's doing, he's actually telling you how to play the rules of the game. Many of you got into business and you didn't know the rules. You didn't know about marketing, you didn't know about sales, you didn't know about finance, you didn't know about accounting, you didn't know about people, you don't know how to play the rules. But you have a vision, you have a technical thing you're really good at that you can maybe toss that ball really well. But what else do you know? Do you know how to get the people in the grandstands to come and watch the game, to come back time and time and time again? And so with that, I want to go back to the conductor of the orchestra. When you know a conductor of an orchestra who's very well known, that conductor of the orchestra understood that the spectators are what paid for that orchestra to be there, just like your customers are why you actually have a business. Those are your customers, those are your spectators, those are your audience members. And they come back time and time again, they buy season tickets, yes. And they come back time and time again, then they bring their children. They come back time and time again, and they pass those tickets on to their family members, because that's your brand. So your brand becomes a perpetual brand. But the conductor, just so you know, always has their back to the audience, except when they walk onto the stage and the audience applauds, and all of the orchestra stands up when the conductor walks out. But what you never see is the rehearsal that the conductor's done before the audience ever arrives in their fine attire for the performance. You never see the hours and hours that wonderful conductor has played at the piano and has read the music and decided what's the vision and the feeling and the experience that they want that audience to have when they arrive. Because he knows if that audience is moved for 2.5 hours, they will come back again and again. They'll be transported for 2.5 hours. And you never see the violinist who every morning practices that C major scale over and over again, every morning, every day, 7 days a week, building their technique. So technique is what makes you great. And a business owner that doesn't have great technique will fall through. A business owner who doesn't know how to teach great technique will have a team that is completely under-functioning, and you will burn out. So today what I want to do is teach you how to teach technique, so that every day you know what technique will drive your business. You will hone your technique. It's not something you do once in a while. You do it every day of the week. You do it 7 days a week. Every day. Does that sound cool? Thoughts so far? Okay, so what I want to do today is find whatever type of leader you want to be. Some of you are going to be a bit like a jazz ensemble. Yeah? Who likes jazz? Anyone like jazz? Okay. So jazz is awesome because jazz players, as Thelonious Monk says, he said, we all know how to play our instrument really well. We practice it all. But when we get on the stage, we just let it go and the improv happens. But the improv can never happen unless you really know the chord changes and you really know how to play the sax, or really how to play the piano, or really know how to play the double bass. Because what happens is when you're really in that improv, you can hear already what the drummer's about to do and you can change the tempo. And so a small team that gets like that, where the improv happens, you have what's called then an interdependent team, where you're moving and flowing with the music as you go. So the metaphor of music I will use, but you might find the metaphor of sport. You might want to be the captain of your football team or your rugby team. I had the fortune to meet Nathan Gray from the Warthogs last year. Anyone know Nathan or the Warthogs? I'd never seen a rugby game in my life, just so you know, until last year. Bloody miracle. Nathan Gray was a defensive coach for the Warthogs, and I interviewed him for 2.5 hours one day. One of the things I do is I interview people who are very extraordinary, and I don't really know who they are, which actually makes the interview even more important. So I don't have any prejudgments. I kind of know what they do, but I let them tell their story. Because I'm a firm believer we're only 2 degrees of separation from anyone we ever need to meet. We're not 6 degrees. That's an old, very old model from the late 1950s, early 60s, where the model was they took a package from Chicago and they had to get that package to New York City. They gave it to 150 different people and they said, please get this package to this lawyer in New York City. One person knew the person, so they didn't count that person as a study. Makes no sense, but anyway. It took them 6 degrees, 6 different people by the time, on average, it got to that person. You don't live in that world anymore. You live in a world of 2 degrees. You've met me now through Stephen. 2 degrees. You want to meet anyone who's famous and or important and or influential? It's the 2 degrees. You want to build your business? It's the 2 degrees. But that 2 degrees starts with you, where you have to be a leader with energy and influence that people actually want to connect with you in your business. Because once that 2 degree happens and they go, it wasn't so, then that next degree says, you know what, I'm not going to refer you again. Making sense? So 2 degrees, your business can grow in 2 degrees very quickly, or your business can die very quickly with 2 degrees. You get a customer who's not happy, in 2 degrees, they can destroy your whole reputation online. True? In 2 degrees, you're going to have a customer who becomes a raving fan, I call a sneezer, and they will sneeze. There are germs everywhere, and they will tell everyone. And that person you better love, because when they're not happy, they will put germs of a virus about your business everywhere. Sound about right? All right. So that, to me, is called what's called a first fast follower. That person who sneezes about you and loves you and is your raving fan, your first fast follower. Otherwise, you're not a leader. So if we open up your manual, your workbook, your playbook, I thought what we'd do is metaphorically, I'd like you to think about yourself as a leader. And that first question I've got for you is your definition. I want you to define what is a leader to you, and also define who to you has been a leader, a model for you of excellence in leadership. Where I met Stephen was back in the NLP training room, and I got into NLP when I really think about it was because I was really confused and I was stuck with the singers who would stand behind the piano and have nervous breakdowns before a performance, or nervous breakdowns before they had to have an exam, or were ready to go to the next step and they just didn't know how to get there. And I got into NLP because NLP is the science of modeling excellence. It's not a religion, it's not a cult, it's not voodoo, and it's not mind control. It is what you do naturally. When you find a model of excellence, you will mirror that person and you will do what that person does until you get that result. But majority of people, and I've got to share this with you, I was down at Prairie Wood High School day before yesterday speaking to 200 high school seniors. I haven't been in front of a whole group of high school seniors in 30 years. They were looking at me like, what is it? You're like my mother. Yeah? And so I was thinking, what could I possibly tell these high school seniors that a woman who's 49 years old and they're 17, 18 years old about ready to go out into the world and they think they know everything, yet they know nothing. But of course they know everything because they're 17. It's true, as my daughters tell me. That what could I tell them that would wake them up? What would wake them up? Fear. Fear, yes, and hope. Yeah. I sat and I did this simple model, and I want to do this with you. I want you to think about who you are as a leader, and I guess what I want to instill with you is get going. Because I think you have a duty of care. I believe you have a duty of care. People come and they work with you. You have customers who are spending their money with you. It is your time you'll never get back. Your children will not see you. You need to come home and be happy with what you do. You come home grumpa-lumpa, they will go, well, why would I ever want to own my own business? You come home inspired, they will go, wow, my parents inspire me. It's your greatest gift you'll give your kids, to be their inspiration of what's possible. You come home exhausted and they don't see you on the weekends, you got your phone on all the time, they'll go, I don't want to do that. I just want to be free, versus the opportunities that you're giving them. So I talked to these high school seniors, and I just did a simple map. And I think it's important to understand, because in music, in movies, in life, there's a hero's journey that all of us goes on. And if I just share this with you, and you look at yourself as a leader, and you look at your lifespan, where you have your age of 0, where you were in the womb. And at that time when you were in the womb, you didn't know what was going on outside of your womb. Just so you know, though, lots of hormones, lots of stress, lots of unfamiliarity of your parents going, oh my goodness, my life will never be the same, I think. And a lot of unknown, a bit like giving birth to a business for the first time. You're doing all the things, setting it all up, but you really don't know if what you're going to get is going to be any good. But of course, when you got your business and you're birthing it, you're not going, I hate this business, it's missing something. You actually love this business, and that's why it's challenging to let other people take care of it, because it's your baby. So understanding that from 0 to, what's our average age lifespan in Australia? 84. And just so you know, that's a wonderful statistic. Much of the world doesn't have that. I told the 17, 18-year-olds, I said, you know what, you're the 50 percentile. 29 and under right now is 50% of the world's population today. 29 and under, the world's population, 50%. Generation X, we don't count as anything. Baby boomers, you still got a large percentage. But 50% of the population is under 29 years old. And if we're not mentoring them, if we're not guiding them, if we're not teaching them what real quality work is, if we're not lifting the standards of excellence, imagine where the world's heading. Because they're asking you to lead them. They're very confused, and they want to go do it. They want to fix, as you did when you were 17, didn't you? But they're seeing things, this generation's seen things that our generation never saw. This generation and Gen Ys have seen mobile phones, they've seen September 11th, they've seen the decline of marriages at a rapid rate, that most of their friends have been influenced in some way by divorce and or cancer and or something of destruction in the family unit. And that's pretty norm. They've also seen their mothers and their fathers both working, which is norm. My mother was a full-time working mother, and that was pretty unusual when I was growing up in the 70s in the US. She was a very strong lady. But most of my friends and their mothers still were home. But that's not the case. We all have an education. So I said to the girls in the room, I said, you know, you have a duty of care to all the girls in the world that don't have an education. You live in the greatest country, I believe, in the world. Australia is fantastic. We're disassociated from much of the world, even though we think we're associated. We live literally down under. 22, 23 million people. Edward de Bono would say it's the greatest place if you could live in, because we're surrounded by water. We have an economic surplus of resources if they're used wisely. We have an immense amount of wonderful immigration coming into the country of highly educated people and people who want to have a better life. We also live in a place that's incredibly beautiful. True? Stunning. It's also a place where you can walk down the street and not be afraid. It's also a place you can walk down the street and meet people from every demographic, where there's an open-mindedness of sexuality and who you are. That's pretty unique. Have to remember that. So between the ages of 0 to 84, I said to the kids, I said, there's this time period right in the middle, and in music, you take a piece of Mozart, you take a piece of Bach, or any of these great, beautiful, incredible mathematicians. So Bach was a mathematician when he wrote. He said, you take their music and you divide a symphony right in half. Literally, you count all the bars, hundreds of bars, and you divide it right in the half. There's what's called a golden mean. And when I did music theory in uni, that golden mean was literally that golden moment where meaning happened, the climax of that orchestral symphony was there, or that piano concerto, or that moment in the middle of Avatar or Matrix, the climax of the movie. And if it didn't happen in the middle of the movie, if it didn't happen in the middle of the symphony, it did not move the audience with emotion to keep going with the movie. They didn't care about the story anymore. Your golden mean moment is right in the middle. What's the age? If you go from 0 to 84, what's the middle age? 40 what? 42. Some of you might call that a midlife crisis. It's your golden mean moment between the ages of 38 to 42 to 46 years old, and I suggest if I look around the room, some of you are there now. Some of you are past that a little bit, and some of you are approaching. Yes? This is a golden mean moment, and you have choices right now. Most of you, I'm just curious, how many of you went into business because you've worked for someone and you were ready to venture out and really see what you were made of? Who's done that? Yes? How many of you had a person that said, you're really great, go do it, I believe in you, go create your own business? How many of you had a business owner who said to you, go and do it yourself, rock on? Couple? No, one little person? Good. How many of you got tired of the way systems were run in the businesses you were in and just said, you know what, it's going to be easier for me to be my own boss rather than being part of a system? Yes. All right. By the time you hit 42, that's pretty much what happens with your life. You'll look at your life at around 42, and there's 3 things you'll look at. Your health. If your health at 42 is rocking, you're on track. If your health at 42 is kind of, yeah, some illness, some dis-ease, literally, in any form, Houston, we have a problem. So that's your first barometric pressure gauge. You check your health. You all need to drink water. That's why McDonald's is a no-go. McDonald's is slave food. So if you're eating McDonald's, that's slave food. It's Coke, it's sugar, and there's nothing of nutritional value in McDonald's. Much to my daughter who went to America over the holidays, and she's a ballerina, and our friend said, I'll just get you a healthy salad from McDonald's because there's healthy food at McDonald's. And she laughed and she said, not really. As she drank her water, has never drunk soda in her life, and they think, how strange. She said, no, you're killing yourself. She said to my sister, who I spoke to this week, my sister was drinking a Diet Coke, and she's quite large. She said, Aunt Lonnie, can you please stop drinking Diet Coke? That's got so many bad things, and I want you to be alive. And my sister said, when she looked at me with those big blue eyes, I just can't drink Diet Coke anymore. Yay! So your health at 42. The great thing is your health can change in 90 days. 90 days. You have a brand new stomach lining every 5 days. That's why you don't have nausea for many weeks. You have a brand new cornea every 24 hours. Your eye replaces a cornea every 24 hours. Isn't that amazing? New liver every 6 weeks. Every 2 years, you have a whole new skeletal structure of cellular memory of your body. So your health can change. Just do different things. The next you want to look at is literally your finances. How are your finances looking, and or your wealth? If at 42 you're still struggling, ladies and gentlemen, your system is not working. And as Stephen said, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result, but you change nothing in the system, you'll keep getting the same result. So you continue that way. If your finances and or your wealth are not improving, if your business is not growing. I was working with a company 2 days ago, and they said, I said, so what's the turnover, weekly turnover, and what you'd be happy with? She said, well, we're currently doing 70,000 a week. I said, so what would be exciting for you? She goes, 75. I said, really, 75? Well, that's exciting. She goes, well, it would be great to be at 100,000, but that's impossible because of the market. So we had a bit of a chat. If you don't see how you can grow, you will die. Because if you're either green and growing or you're ripe and, have you heard that? You're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. Think about an avocado, right? It doesn't get better. Once it's soft, you better eat it, otherwise it tastes nasty. Yes? So you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. The grass is never greener anywhere else. It's only green where you water it. These metaphors are important. What is water is emotion. Emotion drives your business. Emotion has the word motion in it. You don't have any emotion and passion in your business will dry up. Literally, will dry up. If you're not sweating, if your team isn't sweating, literally, perspiring in energy, your business will dry up. That's passion, that's your emotion. So put water into it. And if your finances at 42 are doing great, how are you going to expand them? If your finances aren't, then learn some new systems and improve them so you grow your wealth. And of course, at the core of all this are your relationships. So I'm going to ask you as a leader, would you follow you? would you follow you? Yes or no? If you were the leader in front of somebody right now, and you were right behind you, would you follow you? Would you trust you? Would you trust you that your certainty would exceed all doubt about where we're heading? Would you be absolutely certain that the person in front of you was clear on their vision of where they were going? Absolutely certain. Even if they didn't know how they were going to get there, their vision was so clear, you're like, you know what? I just feel that I'm following, and I just know that I'm with the right person because this person has my best interest at heart. Would you say you're there yet? Yes? No? Could improve? Great. Just say, I could improve. And isn't that a good thing? Versus, I've already arrived and I'm brilliant. There's nothing to improve upon. Yeah. So your goal is to be able to become a phenomenal person with relationships. Because if you're going to be a leader, you better like people. If you don't like people, guess what? They won't like you. So some of you like systems, then get a person in your business who will relate to the people. If you don't like people, they will feel it. They will not connect with you. They will not trust you. And their gut instinct, which is one of your brains, has a whole series of neurons in there. But most importantly, it produces 95% of serotonin in your body. And serotonin is your happy hormone. Your happy hormone is serotonin. 95% is in your gut. That's why food is so important. That's why breaking bread together is so important. That's why connecting through, having morning teas, eating together really builds your team. Don't underestimate it. Don't overwork your team. Nourish them. How's that sound? Sound like a good one? Okay, if you hear some gems, you can write them down on a monitor. Okay. So let's talk about this. So for you as a leader, how would you describe yourself? What is leadership to you? And what is your definition of leadership? Let's get some answers. Sir, your definition of leadership. I'm going to come down off the stage. Is that cool? Because the other thing, it's easy to sit here and listen. And whenever you're listening, just so you know from a singer point of view, you're breathing in information. So everyone take a deep breath in. Now hold it. Keep holding it. That's called an inspiration. You've taken in air. Keep holding that breath. Keep holding it. Just really keep holding it. At this point, your brain's going, I need some oxygen to release here. Keep holding it. Notice how tight your chest is getting. Notice what your brain starts to do. Shuts down. You're now getting reptilian response of either fight or flight and or freeze. Kicking in. Release the air. Good. Breathe in again. And release it out. Good. That's called aspiration. You breathe in, it's inspiration. You breathe out, it is aspiration. So whenever you learn something, you get inspired. The next thing you need to do is you need to share it. Get it? If you just take in information and you don't share it, that's called wanking. Is that cool? All right. I'm a relationship and sex coach too, so I can say those words. Okay. It's important to understand, if I just take in, just so you know, I can read 12 books in 4 hours. I do a training called quantum reading right now. I did that training because there's a lot of information, yes? And just so you know, we're no longer in the information age. We are far past that. 7 years ago, it's now called the thinking age. Isn't that interesting? The information age is long gone, guys. Information's all on your phone. It's all on your phone, done. How much content's in this thing? How much content's in a blog? How much content's in books? How much new information, though, is in these blogs and these books? Not so much. It's kind of the same things being regurgitated with different voices, same things, yeah? Because people aren't thinking. Thinking is creativity. In the 1870s, we had a creative boom in the world, the Industrial Revolution. We had more creativity. We had moving pictures. We had cars. We had steam engines. We had all of the amazing inventions happening. And there was a reason why the creativity was happening, is because you had engineers, musicians, artists, and mathematicians and scientists all talking together. They weren't isolated in silos. They interacted. Einstein was a virtuoso violinist. Did you know that? A virtuoso. He did not say, my problem, what is this? I do not understand this. If I don't understand this, I'm just going to sit there and work at the problem more. He didn't do that. He went out, he got his violin, and he played for 2 hours. And then, Because he went and started to use his right brain, whole brain. His brain was the heaviest brain. When I was teaching a group of children this, I said Einstein had the heaviest brain. Science has recorded. I mean, he's not the heaviest, but one of the heaviest brains. They said that's why he's a genius. They said, why is it so heavy? I said, because when he was learning, his basal ganglia, his neural pathways between his right and his left brain were just interconnecting all the time. He'd have his linear thinking, his logical thinking, his goal-setting focus. And then he'd have his right brain, which is all creative and imagination and abstraction, big picture. And when he was there, he'd go here, and his brain was consistently, and his brain density was so heavy. I said, by the time he got old, it got so heavy that his head got so heavy that he just, boom. I said, challenge with schools is, and this is when I went to the schools, I got a whole program called My Super Brain, because kids don't know about their brain. They're being taught linear thinking, left brain, left brain, left brain. It is cheating to copy. It is cheating to model. It is cheating. If I cheat, I cannot get a good mark. But we are modeling geniuses. We cannot be creative unless we model. Tell a painter, please do not model. Please do not model Rembrandt. Please do not. When you learn how to pick up that paintbrush, please do not look at Leonardo da Vinci at all. Just go ahead and pick up the paintbrush and do something. Ridiculous. Just tell me as a singer that I should never hear another singer sing. No, let me just go and find my own voice without standing like another singer. In fact, when I went to school, when I went to uni, I hated opera. In fact, I'm not a real opera fan even today. Johnny said, okay. Yeah. But I went because I was getting my degree, and I was paying $25,000 a year in 1983. And my singing teacher, a little Japanese singing teacher, she was littler than me. She said, Alice, if you do not focus your tone, you will not graduate. I was like, oh, Mrs. Toribar, I hate this vibrato sound. She said, why do you hate it? I said, because my mother had it. It was really ugly. It was really loud and shrill and nasty. I said, do I have to sing vibrato? She goes, yes, you must, because you have a breathy voice. I'm like, oh. She said, go down to the library and pull out these CDs of these singers. And she gave me the name of about 7 different singers. And she said, listen to them over and over and over and over and over again. So I did, put the earphones on, and I got lost. Went up to the practice room in the little corner, and I practiced my technique. Walked in the room, and I became Jessie Norman, 6'2", African-American, broad-shouldered, large-breasted woman. And I acted like an opera singer. Walked into my singing lesson. Put my hand upon the piano. She said, shall we sing? I was like, yes. And I totally, you call it faking till you make it. It's actually not. It's called modeling. And I started to sing. She went, what's that? I said, well, do you like it? She goes, yeah, do more of that. 4 years later, top of the class, 21, went to Vienna and started a singing career. Modeling, copying. Walked off the stage, played bridge. Whatever, put on the mask, played bridge. Drank Tanqueray and tonics, very happy. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. That being said, the relationship, I had to start leading myself. I had a dream of being this singer. So let's talk about it. Your definition, let's hear it. What is your, question number 1, what is your definition of leader? What is your definition of leader? D, what is your definition? And how do you know? Show me your walk. No, put the microphone down. Put the microphone down and show me your walk. See, if you're walking the talk, you got to walk it, right? Show me your walk. Good. That's a bit of a sexy walk. There we go. Come on, let's come on back now. Come on. That's it. Beautiful. Excellent. How are you? High five on that one. Good. All right, let's get another walk. If you're walking the talk, you got to have the walk, yes? Let me see your walk, John. Up you go. A leader never lies by the way a leader walks, yes? When you see the leader walking on the stage, you go, will I trust this person? All certainty must exceed all doubt. Your physical body is a never lie of the internal compass. Let's get our arms moving. Everyone, can you all stand up, please? Thank you, John. Your physical body, you can hear about body language. Communications, 3 things: body language, tonality of voice, and the words you use. Words you use are only 7%, 38% of the voice tonality, and 55% are the physiology. So what? What it really means is you're either congruent and walking your talk and all of those things are working, or you're incongruent and your body's unstable and your voice sounds funny and you don't know what to say. Get it? So your whole certainty. So when you are a leader, first and foremost, we got to get your body walking the talk. It's not talking the walk. Firstly, gentlemen and ladies, there are 2 positions that your hands must be at as a leader, and one that it must never be as a leader. So let us do, shall we? Okay. All right. All right. So just so you know, this is definitely not a leadership pose. Someone got that? Because this is, oh my God, you're going to get me in the ball. So gentlemen, anytime you put your hand here, or ladies, I'm just going to be honest, you are protecting your golden nuggets. So those are absolutely fine in leadership role to expose them because it shows your strength. Has everyone got that? If you're not exposing this, if this is not open, you're showing us that you actually are not a fertile human being. I'm being honest. Your sexuality, your energy, your charisma is from down here up. You're grounded up, not from the top down. If you're in here, in your head, you are not connected to the ground. If you're in your head, you are gathering knowledge and you're completely useless, just so you know. Knowledge without usage is not wisdom. Knowledge is simply a gathering, like a hoarding of stuff in your home that you never use of value. Is that making sense? You either use your knowledge and you use it, or get out, okay? Is that cool? Is everyone all right with that? It's a bit of the time of the Depression when people hoard lots of things and they never use their fine china. When you go home today, please use your fine china. Please use your beautiful dishware. Please use your special things. Don't wait one day. That's a hoarder mentality. You bought it, it's valuable, enjoy it for every day because that leads you as a king or queen. Yes? Versus a slave. One day I'll use that. Okay, so let's do this one. Ladies, the same thing. Make sure your feet are just slightly apart. Okay, now ensure your knees are unlocked, because if your knees are locked, lock your knees. Your pelvic floor is now tight, and your breathing will get tight, and if your breathing gets tight, because you've got your pelvic floor, you've got your diaphragm, you've got your heart, you've got your larynx, and you've got your brain, they're all interconnected physiologically, you won't be able to think clearly, and your leg, when you're talking to people, will start to shake. Yeah? Helpful? Unlock your knees. Now take a deep breath in. And just notice, when you all take a deep breath in, release it now. I'd like you to breathe nice and low. Many people breathe and think breathing is like this. It's not, because you'll sound like Sylvester Stallone eventually, or Marlon Brando. Okay, so breath is nice and low. Breathe in nice and low. And say good morning. Good. Now, the more you have your hands crossed here, then you're still thinking about whether you're going to do this, and this is you just protecting yourself from me, but that's okay. Just open it up right now. That's all right. I'm just going to get to it. I'm a little firecracker. Let's go. Hand go. They used to write hammer time. People say I don't have time with Alice. Say my name is just Alice. People can't say my last name. They knew Haemmerle. They're like, whatever. I said, it just means a little hammer in Austria. My husband's Austrian. Yeah. So they just write hammer time. Come on. Arms open. Let's do it. You'll feel stronger. When you go here, you're defensive, and you're covering up your solar plexus. This is your power center. If I can't come up to you and punch you, and you're not strong, at that moment, I'm sure you're not certain. Get it? So if I can come up and punch you, which I might come and do, I have done it before. Yeah, it's all right. When I work with the athletes, I will punch them. They're like, I had one guy, he went to the Vancouver Olympics with a big bruise on his arm. He was 24 years old, still living at home with his mom and his girlfriend, and he had to go be a warrior in the Olympics. I'm like, dude, if you're not a warrior and you go to the Olympics, you're going to let your team down. So I said, excuse my language, everybody. So I must say it. I said, stop being such a pussy. Boom! And I bang him. He goes, Alice? I was like, come on, step up. And he's like, look what Alice did. The thing is, he said, and so when they came back, the leader of the team said he was the guy who stepped up over and over again. When things weren't working out, he stepped up. Anchored the bruise in. Step up. Strong man. Let's go, Mr. Oakley. What's your name, sir?
Adam.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. So can you say good morning, Alice?
Good morning, Alice.
Good. Good morning, Adam. How are you?
Well, thanks.
Wonderful. Good. Let's get our hands here. Good morning.
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 Good morning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, 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 yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
No. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
No, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A bit louder. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Imagine you would go into your workplace and you would say good morning to people with a good morning versus hi, how y'all doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
You're putting energy in your workplace the moment you walk in the door. What is it?
Good morning.
Good morning with a big smile. Are you happy they're there?
Very happy.
They've actually made it. They've gotten through the traffic. They've gotten their kids off to school. They've gotten out of bed. They haven't pushed the snooze button. They've chosen to get dressed. They've eaten some food. They've done their things they need to do. And they've chosen to come and work for you. Thank them. Good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely to meet you. Good morning. How happy are you that they're there? How happy?
Oh, happy.
Yeah. Everyone knows the man James Pratt, you know, Visi? Yes? Yes. I'm working with a man who worked with him, and we're building this whole businessy thing together. Anyway, point being, I said, why was this man such a great leader? Because I'm working with the CEO of Visi currently. He said, why was James Pratt so great? He said, honestly, he was an ass to those people, and he had a chameleon faces. He could be like this, or he could be gentle. He was an actor. He trained to be an actor. Did you know that? He trained to be an actor, so he could be an actor when he needed to. But he said he would always come into the factories, and he would come in through the back, because then he would talk to the people, and he would say, good morning. And he would connect with them and say, how's the business going? How's the factory running? And then he would go see the manager. He would never walk through and see the manager first. He called the managers at 6 o'clock every morning, and he said, tell me the numbers. And if they didn't know their numbers, he taught them all what was important to know. Good morning.
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 Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A bit louder.
Good morning.
Good. Hands out of the pockets. Okay, every time you got your hands in your pockets, I'm just going to let you know, guys, every time you put your hand, you're like a little boy, I think you got a frog in there or something you're going to play with. And yeah, take everything, no hands in your pockets. It shows a lack of status. Hands at your side. You are the leader. You need to walk your talk. Shoulders are back and bodies up. Certainty must exceed all doubt. Hands in pockets, your shoulders go forward. Your breathing is tight. You feeling that? Go ahead and slump. Everyone slump. Just so you know, this was taught in school, high school. You don't fit in the tribe. You don't be exposed. You'll hide. Oh, I don't know the answer to that. Can I just hide? I see those who want to hide. You're a leader. You can never hide. You have to be in the front. You're either in the front or you're in the back, making sure everybody's okay. It's your choice. Yes? Ideally, you lead from the front and set the pace, and then you go to the back and let the pace keep going. Yes? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A bit louder, sir.
Good morning.
Good. What is your name, sir?
Glenn.
Good morning, Glenn. How are you?
I'm well, thank
I
you.
remember you from last time.
That's good because I wasn't here last time you were here.
Well, you look familiar. All right, there we go.
Turn into magazines.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. And your name, sir?
George.
Good morning. My father's name. Great name. Good morning, George. Lovely to meet you. I'll do it again.
Good morning.
Lovely.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Hands at your sides, sir. Good. Hands in your pockets. I feel like they want to go in there. Nice and strong. Good morning. Nice and strong.
Good morning.
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 Good. Voice up in question. I wonder if it is a good morning. Good morning? I don't know. Is it? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alice.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Feel that? Tonality of voice. Good morning. How are you all doing today? Question up. I know I have an American accent. I've lived here 19 years. I don't know why it's still here. Okay? When your voice goes up in question, I get nervous. My reptilian response goes into fight or flight, depending upon my energy. Yeah? I'm a fighter. Some of you are flighters. Yeah? The way you know the difference is this. Fighters will go on a holiday, and they will look for the activity to go do and or food. How many of you, when you arrive on a holiday, you look for food, or you want to just get going with the sights? Who does that? Cool. How many of you, when you arrive, you want to get into the hotel, you settle in and make sure everything is as it needs to be before you go see the sights? That's okay. There's one you've got to do before the other. Oh my gosh, is that all I've got? It's just shocking. 30 minutes. I could go on for days. Only on question one. Let me move forward. Okay. Okay. You're a team. If you're a leader, you need to have fight in you. You got to fight because your fight is your goals. You got to fight for the vision. You got to fight for your mission. So your definition of leader, you need to decide who that's going to be. Do you want to be the conductor? Do you want to be the football coach? Or are you fine to be the parent that is happy for their children to spring off one day and become young adults? Or will you mother them and father them till they're dependent and codependent on you? It's your choices. Is that cool? All right. Have a seat. How are we doing so far? So walk and your talk. Agreed. Success never lies. Success leaves clues. You meet a successful person, and it shows in their whole physiology. At 42, if your body's looking a bit like this, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know where you're heading. The more your head is down, you've been looking down at the ground. As a leader, you need to be looking up and looking out at where you're heading. It always shows. Even though you may not quite know where that shoreline is, you know we're going here. Yes? That's why you're here. You're actually here to work on your business, not in your business, yes? That's actually a very strong metaphor. To work on your business, really, from a very basic point of view, means you're taking time from getting out of the engine room and saying, where is our ship sailing today? Oh, I don't really want it to go there. I didn't realize I was about to head to that area. Yeah? So you need to know what kind of ship you are. If you're a sailboat, a vessel, what type of vessel? Yeah? What's your ship? Where's your ship sailing? All right, so your team question. What's your team like? Is your team like a bunch of little 2-year-olds? Is your team crawling? Do you have some team that are quite functional? Are they able to wipe their bottoms well? Really? Can they feed themselves? Can they do things without being asked? Do they come with ideas that actually build your business? Or are they consistently coming to you and saying, I don't know how to do this, and afraid to make mistakes? What type of a team do you have? Do you have a functional, highly functional team, a functional team, or a dysfunctional team? Just write it down. Be honest with yourself. 80% of your team will reflect, remember the 80-20 principle? 20% of your high performers will give you 80% of your results. You have 80% low performers, your business is going nowhere. Yes? 20% of all your customers give you 80% of your money. Yes? Yes, 20% of what you do in your day gives you 80% of your return. 20% of your life will dictate the quality of how you define your life. The 20% of your life. Your relationships, your health, those 20%. So what is the 20%? What's your team like? What about your development? What are you really doing? Are you coming to trainings like this and going, well, this is really interesting. I really found that interesting. Or are you doing the practice? Are you going to go into the practice room and practice, shut the door and figure out how to do it? Get feedback, how am I going? Go and do it. Get feedback, how am I going? Until you match. So can I teach you something right now, because I'm aware of time, that will help you move yourself and your team from a codependent relationship, which is page 2. Is that all right with everybody if I just zoom through? Okay, the laws of influence. Yeah? Apologize, no, that's not correct. It's like page 2 is responsibility. I love that word. Responsibility, people think it's a terrible word. It's actually the ability to respond. That's where the word comes from. The person with the greatest ability to respond will control the world around them. It's called the law of requisite variety. The person with the most behavioral flexibility will control the systems in their world. Does that make sense? The person with the most behavioral flexibility, which means you can learn, you can unlearn, you can relearn, and you can do it better. That's why I love NLP. That's why I learn how to quantum read. I read 10 books every week. 10 books, so 520 books a year. That's okay. Average person reads maybe a book a month. I've trained about 180 people in this course already, from little ones up to older folk, from university students to people with severe dyslexia to people who've never read a book in their life. All sorts of different reading strategies I've seen. And I didn't need to do this training, but the reason I did it was I realized that part of the challenge that we have is because there's so much information we have. We get overwhelmed by information. Yes? Do you? Where do you possibly begin if you have a very outdated industrial age education? We're not in the industrial age. We're not in the age of replication. We must be in the age of creation. We have to. The planet needs it. True? We need it. What's our health like in the world? First world countries, how's it doing? Improving or not? fast. What's happening with poverty? Improving or not? What's getting it? Has to change. Educated people need to literally educate themselves, not think that the education you've been given is actually going to set you forward for the future. Education allows you to think, not to regurgitate. Does everyone get that? So get learning how to learn quickly and take what you need for what you need. Not say, I need to know everything. That is hoarding. Yes? You don't need to know everything. You just need to know what you need to know to get going, to create. Yeah, creative. That's why we're here. Genius. All right, so with that, this is how, is everyone cool to learn how to work with their teams a bit and how to work with yourself a little bit? How many of you are overworked, overwhelmed, and a bit tired? Anybody? Come on. Yeah. How did you know this was going to happen one day? You got a business to be your own boss and have freedom. Anyone want business for freedom? Yeah? Freedom to work when you want, where you want, with whom you want, and do what you want? 24/7, 7 days a week. How's it doing? Okay, so let's talk about this. And I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm gonna be pretty brutal. And is that okay? Because I only got 15 minutes. Is that okay, Stephen? Or I'll be brutal. Okay. Who likes to have a codependent relationship? Anyone in for that codependency? You sure? Okay. Really? How many of you blame your team members for not performing? Raise your hand. How many of you blame the traffic for not moving? Yeah. How many of you blaming the government for the status of the way this world is right now in Australia? Yes. How many of you are blaming ISIS for the fear that is now here? Yes. Getting it? That's called codependency. I'll tell you why. At that moment, you now feel fearful, afraid, and a victim to something outside of you. Yes? I'm a victim. There's something that is happening to me of which I have no control at all. External forces that are greater, scarier, bigger, unknown, and unfamiliar. The thing is, in the quantum physics world, the world is completely chaotic. There is no order in this chaos. We're simply vibrating matter at a speed which makes us feel that we matter. We're light. We're pure light energy. True? You know that, right? Why would we be all warm? We're warm. Yes? So as we get cold. Yes? We're light. Just like your tables are white, just like light. Everything is vibrating energy, quantum field. If we believe that we're a victim of something, we feel that we have no choices, and we live with fear. What happens if? And then we begin then to project this into our world. In the quantum field, it says that which you focus on, you will create. That is the quantum world. I'm not a quantum physicist, but I've read a few books. That which you focus on, perception is projection. That which I perceive in myself, I must project out on my world and see it as something real. It must be real because it's in my mind. If it's in my mind, it must be so. Because it is my world in my head. Yes? Thing is, if I look in the mirror and I see myself and I don't say something kind to myself in the mirror, I am now projecting unlove to myself. And if I can't look in the mirror and love who I am, my goodness, how can anyone else? If I can't look in the mirror and respect the way that my body is, how will anyone respect me? Yes? If I can't, yes? Is that making sense? The mirror is your reflection. How you speak to yourself in the mirror is how you reflect yourself to your external world. So look in the mirror and say, man, I'm awesome. Because you are. Incredible human being. Incredible, magnificent. You have neuroplasticity. Brain grows more nerve cells all the time, neurons all the time. They do not die. They can grow with exercise and healthy eating. Isn't that exciting? You are not hardwired. You are soft-wired. Yes? Anyone heard of neuroplasticity? Have you heard of that before? Anyone not heard of neuroplasticity? Okay, please read this book called The Brain That Changes Itself. Please read that book. I'm giving you a recommendation. Read the book. The brain that changes itself, stroke victims, people with accidents, the brain will grow neural pathways very quickly when it needs to survive. The sooner you learn something new and you are emotionally connected to it and you have fun with it, guess what? There is no fear. You're no longer a victim. There's no more cortisol producing in your body. Your body starts to immediately produce adrenaline, serotonin, dopamine. Dopamine, the happy drug. That's our addictive drug. That's your ecstatic drug. That's the one that makes you go, yeah. That's the one you want. So imagine you go to school and you go, oh my goodness, I'm a victim of school. I've been told I'm not a good learner. I've been told I'm not good at math. I'm told I'm a victim of the system. Yes? So I don't like to learn. In fact, learning, man, I'm just going to sit back and watch it. Teacher's going to talk to me. And then I'm going to go home and do what I do. Put on the PlayStation. Watch a TV show. And just watch the world go by. Got it? or not. To one day you say it's enough. I'm going to get out and do something about it. You become aggressive. You become an aggressor. You know what? Aggressor, it's testosterone. Yes, yes. When you've got aggression in you, I'm happy. It means you care. I'd much rather see an angry person than a person who has nothing. Yes? I'd rather see you fighting for your business and having an argument together, because at least you care. If you don't care anymore, you get shut down. When I coach couples, and there's no more this, there's no more passion. It's done. It's finished. Remember, testosterone creates a baby. Every time. Without energy, just think about it. No friction. Early morning chat. Let's think about it. Think about when you built your business. Was there a lot of aggression? Did you get frustrated? Yes. This is good. Problem, though, is when it starts to become external and you blame and you don't take the responsibility in self. Yes? Because what you end up doing is you go find a rescuer. That could be your partner, could be your coach, could be Steve, it could be anybody who you trust to say, please rescue me and help me because I don't know what to do. Yes? And they go, it's okay. Yes, that person is a bastard. Yes, the government sucks. Yes, the tax rates are terrible. Agree, and my gosh, we should just lock our children in the house because ISIS is going to blow us all up. Don't go to the chocolate place again. Getting it? Rescuer, guess what? Becomes the victim, becomes the aggressor. And this becomes what's called a drama cycle. In psychology, it is the drama cycle. It's the codependent cycle. Everyone feeds off of each other, and no one takes any responsibility. How's that? Basically, it's a playground of year threes. Tribal warfare. Till you get that kid in about year 3 who says, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. They're good at what they do. Maybe they're piano, or maybe they're sport. Maybe it's fishing. Maybe it's playing on their PlayStation, but they're really good at it. They figure it out. Yeah? Something. Something that's theirs. And they move to where we call dependency. Now, a lot of people look at dependency and think it's a bad thing. But dependency is where you want your teams to be, because you can depend on them. Got it? Dependency means they're dependable. Dependency means you're able to ask for help, and they're able to listen, and you're able to induct and train them, and you can depend on them to do it right. Dependency is not codependency. Do not confuse the two. This is codependency. Just so you know, none of you made your own clothes, right? Are you dependent on someone to make your clothes? If I told you you had to make exactly this outfit tomorrow, exactly, could you do it? Of course not. I mean, the whole thing, even your shoes. You got to do it in 24 hours. You got to make your shoes. You got to weave all that cotton. Get going. You got 24 hours. That's a whole outfit you got to have on tomorrow. Could you do it? Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, we're dependent on those things. Yes, you're dependent on your car. You're dependent on people to drive safely on the road. As I said to the high school kids, I depend on you to drive safely because I've got my family in the car. When you're doofy and silly, you cause a problem. You have a duty of care when you drive. You need to be dependable. I can depend on you. So dependency, and this is what I want to teach you now, is how to train your team. If they are under-functioning, you've got a codependent relationship. Everyone got that? It means you are over-functioning. You are over-functioning. And if you over-function, there has to be an under-functioner. Has everyone got this? If you're an under-functioner, you are giving energy to the over-functioner because it makes you both feel good. It's a love relationship. Isn't that just sickening? It's a bit like a mother and a child. The mother does everything for the child because she loves them so much. Then one day they're supposed to spring off and they don't know how to do the laundry. They don't know how to make their bed. They don't know how to cook. They can't make a decision. They can't decide what they want to eat at the restaurant. Do you hear what I'm saying? Codependent relationship. They go out into the workforce and they say, what should I do? They go, I don't know. What should I do? I don't know. Just set some goals for you this year. I just want to go to Bali and go on a holiday. Yeah. What are you going to do with your money? I'm just going to save it up and buy a car. One day I'll think about those things. Right now I just want to have fun and play. I want freedom. You with me? You have a duty of care, dependency. So let's just do this really quickly. Who has a team? I'm going to teach you how to teach your team. Is that all right with you? Because I got 15 minutes. I want you to love dependency. Because I'll tell you right now, all of your team players are dependent on you to know where you're going. And if you don't know, then I will say shame on you. Because how can you not know where you're heading? They come to work thinking, you're older, you're wiser, you must know. True? But one day they don't have a job because you haven't built the business. One day you're not there because you're not taking care of your health, and somebody else comes in and the person that they loved and admired and respected is no longer there. One day somebody takes your business and you just hand it over because you sell it to somebody, and all these people who've been loyal to you are disappointed because you didn't hand over to somebody who would take care of them. You getting it? I've seen it time and time again when I do coaching. It is your duty of care to take care of your baby. Yes? And to allow your offspring to spring off. That's why they're called offspring. So there'll be a time your business springs off and you need to say goodbye to it and let it be given to somebody else to raise. Is that a good thing? But if you're going to hold on it forever, you're going to be a mommy and daddy forever. And you're waiting for the grandchildren to come to give you meaning in life, which is okay. Just know that that's what you're going to do, and that's cool. Is it okay metaphorically? All right. So let's do dependency. Who would like to do this with me? Terrific. Come on up. What's your name? Maureen. Give Maureen a big hand. To move your team from To move your team from dependency to independency, which is the next step, we need to get them to model excellence. We need to teach them technique. No technique, they cannot go further. Your technique is your signature. Yes? How you do what you do, your consistencies, your strategies, your systems. I don't care, whatever you want to call them, they are your technique. All your systems are your technique. You know your numbers, you've got technique. You know how to do, what do you do, sir, in your business?
Insurance.
Insurance. So you would know how to do a needs analysis with your clients in a matter of minutes. And if you get a new person who's got to do that needs analysis and make that sale, and they're not as efficient as you, and they may answer the wrong question, or they don't ask a specific question, what happens to the insurance policy? Exactly. Technique. Got it? Everyone must have technique. Not talked a lot in business. Always talked about in music. Lady Gaga sang the Sound of Music medley the other day on the Oscars. Everyone hear that? Bloody brilliant. She's a great singer, actually. Great technique. Everyone was surprised. But you could hear she was a great singer when she was singing whatever she was singing. Telephone. Yeah? Her whole history is classical music. She was a child prodigy in piano. Amazing. So she sings with technique. I was, oh, wow, Lady Gaga. Smart. She's an artist. Let's go. Dependency. Maureen, what is your business?
Reiki practitioner.
Oh, energy. Good. How am I doing? Calm me down a little bit. There you go. Okay. All right. And do you have people working for you?
No.
Not yet. Who do you have? Who would you like to have working with you? What do you need to have first? Who's the first person on your team?
Dynamically.
To do what?
To be able to contact clients.
Yes.
To speak to clients, to share exactly what I've got.
Yes.
And to be able to then invite them in.
Wonderful. So
Pass it on.
pass it on. So this is your gatekeeper.
Yes.
Yes, gatekeeper. So when they say welcome to the kingdom.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
First protocol is always so important.
It's the most important. It's the maitre d' at the front of the restaurant. Yes? Yeah, welcome to your table.
Yep.
Yes, beautiful. Do they meet the chef?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Okay, this is going to seem so simple, but please take the metaphor of this, okay? When you hire this person, I want you to do this very simple metaphor. You can do whatever you like, but just take the metaphor. It will show you how we've all been educated. Maureen, in my business, we have a signature way that we greet people. Okay. The first thing we do, though, is we make something for them when they arrive, and this is our signature flower. It's our signature flower. In fact, our flower has been with the company for so long that it means everything to all of our customers. Okay. And I really need you to know that I need you to respect this flower. Imagine if Walt Disney said, just change Mickey Mouse's ears, just a touch. What would happen to Mickey? Remember Steve Jobs, when he came back, he said, what have you all done? And all these different products they created, and he called them all but one. Yes? You know that with Steve Jobs' story? He got fired from Apple. Yes, fired from Apple. Came back, they had all these different products. He's like, this is all a bit of shit. We don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that, all this research and stuff they've done. He goes, we do one thing, we do it brilliantly well. Have a signature thing. You must have a signature thing. You don't have a signature thing, someone will find somewhere else. You've got to have a signature coffee. You have to have a signature sandwich. You have to have a signature experience that is signature to you. If you don't have that, you don't care. Your signature you will take care of forever. Do you know what I mean? Don't be a generalist. What is unique to your brand? Yeah, that they get consistently. So this, Maureen, is our signature flower. Let me share it with you. Ooh. That is our $1 billion flower, whatever it looks like. This, though, is our flower, and I'm going to ask you to join me. Before I, though, hand you over to the flower, I have to ensure that you will respect the flower, and I'd like you to copy the flower for me, please. This is how I would hire. Go ahead, just copy the flower, please. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's our signature flower that has made our company billions of dollars. Yes, billions and billions and billions of dollars. Maureen's now come in. She said, I can do that. I can make your signature flower. Is it the same? Is it even close? Yeah, it's blue. Yeah, this is where school has made a mistake. I'm going to say it hands down. We're told not to copy. We're told not to trace. Slows all learning, and it definitely slows down creativity. Ready? Here we go. This is the flower, and I'd like you to copy it. Literally, copy it. Sounds very simple. Sounds very obvious, guys. But when you do your training, and you're not doing this with your person, they're having to figure it out by themselves. And it comes back to you, and it's not quite the same. You're like, doesn't taste quite the same, doesn't look quite the same. What is going wrong here? Human behavior strategies. We are a strategy machine. She's almost there. She's not really tracing quite the circles. She's now adding, tracing exactly. Yep, cool, good. Yeah, yeah, good, good. That's much better. Thank you so much. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you go exactly as a circle, and eventually she gets to the speed I'm doing it. Yeah, you duplicate it. Now, when this happens, her mind goes, I can do that. How did you learn to drive? I'm just going to let you know, all of you learn to drive this way. Otherwise, we would be crashing into each other on the road. This is called intelligence. This is not cheating. This is smart. The slowest way to learn is to figure it out on your own. Yes? There's two things you need to know when you learn best. I need to see you do it. Write this down. I need to see you do it in the speed of how it's done. Just let me watch you do it first. Don't talk to me. Yes? Just show me. Right? Then I want you to do it with me. So that's how you train your team. You show them how the speed is. Don't do it slowly. Show them how the master does it. You do it really well, just do it. Don't talk about how you do it. Don't put any of the auditory involved. Just show them. That's how a child learns, yes? So show them. We do. And you tell them why you're doing it this way. So I gave you the why around the flower, not just this is our flower. Yes? This is why this flower is important. It is the heart of our business. Yes? You must always tell them why they need to know that. Write that down. If they don't know the why, their limbic brain says, so what? They don't get emotionally engaged. Yes? Then you do it, and they go, and they should say this. They should go, huh, versus, yes? They should go, huh, or wow, or golly gee, I'd like to do that. Something like that. Got it? Golly gee. Golly gee, I'd like to do that. They got to have some energy. If they're like this, get them off your team. Get them off your team. They don't care about your signature flower. They won't care about your customers. They'll slack on the side. You getting it? Get the right people on your team. They'll go, wow, that's fantastic. How can I do that too? How can I do that too? Not how can I do that better than you? How can I do that too? Then, after they've done that, 3 times. 3 times. You give them 3 times doing it. Just 3. They do it 3 times the same. Then you give them a stretch. Because now you can depend on them to do this thing because you've taught them. And they've shown you 3 times. It's called a 3-time convincer. Neurologically, they now have a neural pathway that has now been formed. Isn't that cool? Got a system running. They can repeat it back 3 times. So you do it once, you show it. Then we do it together. Then you do it by yourself. I'll give you some feedback. Yes, I stretch you. Yeah. And you do it 3 times accurately. Do it one more time for me. And you'll notice that she gets a bit faster. First time's always slower because like, oh, what if I get it wrong? There is no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as success. Those are 2 completely incorrect definitions. You are afraid of feedback. You are afraid of not being loved and not belonging. That's what you're afraid of. That's it. You're not afraid of failing. If you were afraid of failing, none of you would be walking. If you were afraid of failing, none of you would write. If you were afraid of failing, none of you would drive a car. You were afraid of the feedback. So when you give feedback to your team, you must do it with love. Because when you give them love, when you're giving them the feedback, they will love you and they will love your business. You love your team, they'll love your customers. You don't love your team, they'll destroy your customers. Because it always shows, doesn't it? So that makes sense, doesn't it? Do you love your customers? I don't mean romantically. Yeah? But hopefully you spend more time with your customers than you do with your family. You spend more time with your team than you do with your family, yes? About right? Well, you better start loving them. Then you come home and you're not like, oh, it's people in my business. You're like, my family. Take care of my family. They are your family. And your kids will thank you because you come home happy. All right, how's that going? All right, now we move to the next stage. She's dependent. I can depend on you. Maureen, I'm going to leave you in charge of teaching Johnny how to make this flower. And now I've taught her how. She will go and she'll teach him the why. And Johnny will go make a pink flower or a blue flower. He'll do something else. And she'll go, appreciate that, Johnny? First thing that we need to do is I need to depend on you to actually take care of the original flower. Yes? And then we can go expand. First thing, you get this one. Johnny goes, thank you. Yeah? Because now the creativity will kick in. Because the brain's going, I want to do my own way. I want to do my own way. But I got to depend on you. Just like I have to depend on my kids if I go away on the weekend, that they don't trash the house. I depended on them one too many times. So dependency till we get to independency. Independent person is that. Independent person, I can trust you, and then this person has freedom, and this person now begins to can work on their own, by themselves, and expand their world. Yeah? I can leave you to do your job. Independent. And this person now begins to become quite creative. So this is where I'm going to leave you to this. There's a market we need to go into in Reiki that hasn't been tapped yet. Hasn't been tapped yet, okay? And the market is actually university students who are highly stressed with their examinations, yeah? Our flower is amazing. It's really tapped the adult market, but we need to get in with this university market, yeah? So I'd like you to take the flower and keeping the flower, just add to it so that it actually appeals now to the university market. Could you just do something? And I'm just going to let her be creative. How's that? I've got 1 minute. Go. Got 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Okay. Has everyone got the metaphor here? And Maureen, I want you to do your very best work. Go do your very best work. Important you say that. Not just go do it. Go do your best work. Write that down. When you move someone to independence, say, do your best work. And then you'll see what their best is. Don't try and do well. Don't go and try it. Go do your best work. High standards. Lift your standards. That's why I had the Steve Jobs quote at the beginning of the manual, of which I got to page 3. It's pretty normal, isn't it? It is. It's all good. Because I'm not a keynote speaker. I'm a teacher. Is that cool? Beautiful. Fantastic. And she'll start to get in the flow now. She'll feel free. She'll feel happy. How's her feeling doing this?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Notice her energy. Yes. Okay, we'll stop there. Maureen, tell us a bit about this flower. She's independent now. Yes? Now she's adding value to the business. She's improving the system. She's doing something else. Yes? I've left her to her own devices. Yes? Please tell me. Tell me, flower.
The flower is representing us as a company.
Please tell everybody.
The flower is representing all of us as a company. It's representing you, me, and what we can give to the world. So therefore, we teach everybody how to walk out, how to duplicate, how to reproduce what I've been shown and what you can show other people. The flower shows us that we can become the master of our own creation as long as we've been given the right tool by the right person. And as long as we're listening. Listening.
Give her a hand. How good's that? Beautiful. Thank you. High-fiving on that. Thank you. All right. Is this making sense? Induction training is your responsibility. You bring a person in your team and you don't train them and they don't perform, you only have one person to look at. You. You must train your team to be successful. You must give them technique. And don't ever say you don't have time, because the longer they're with you and they don't have the technique, they'll ruin your business. You teach them great technique from the beginning. You get an orchestra that then when you're the conductor, you can hear what that trombone section's kind of doing. You're like, Bob, it's a B flat. Oh, thanks, Bob. Thanks. You go to the violin section, sing in the melody, which is your sales section. You say, come on, strings, let this soar. Need to get those profits up, and they'll soar. Your first violinist will take the lead, which is your top salesperson. Got it? Your top salesperson will lead your business so that you can leave your business because they won't let it stop. Your cello section will keep the bass happening, yes? So you've got your finance department happening. And your whole percussion will keep the energy going in your business. You got it? Your business is your orchestra. The conductor has to be able to hear, but every one of them have to play great technique. Otherwise, the orchestra playing Mozart sounds awful. Doesn't matter. Great technique is great technique. So then when you, just last thing, is you move from independency and then your team goes to interdependency. And only when you get to interdependency does your business start to compound. And then you have leverage of time and money. Your people make money for you in ways you never thought they could make money for you. That's called interdependency. They come in with opportunities that you never thought were there because they're part of your 2 degrees of separation. You get it? They will be, your team will be your number one salespeople, not your customers, your team. Your team love you, they will take care of you. They will never let you go under. That's your 2 degrees. Does that make any sense? Cool. Can we give Maureen a big hand? Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, you can imagine I could go on for a few hours. Can't I, Stephen? I guess what I want to say is, what I want to ask you is, what did you take from this very quick hour and a half? I go for 7 days typically. Can I just ask, how'd you go? How are we doing? Thoughts, feedback? Did you have a few what? What were your epiphanies, sir? What's your name, sir? Daniel. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good. And when you do that, how are you going to show it to them? Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Give him a big hand. That's super. Thank you. Good. And one last thing with that. Raise the bar. Tall poppy syndrome is not necessary. Australia, this is the biggest waste of energy when people do the tall poppy. Stop it. That's one way to say stop it. Because the tall poppy, we all have an opportunity to change things. The tall poppy syndrome is something that has actually killed this country. When people are great, let them be great. If people want to be great, inspire them to be great. Yes? Don't go for good. Good is a low, below benchmark. I want to have a good life. You don't want to have a good life. You want to have a great life, okay? So get rid of tall poppy. Someone's great, make them greater. Yeah? Let them believe they're great. It'll help their kids. Yes? Their kids want to be proud of their parents. Kids are proud of their parents, they'll do better in school. Yes? Kids are proud of their parents, they'll do better in relationships with their friends. Yes? So parents need to be proud. You guys got to be great. What else did you take? One more thing, and then we're done. One more thing. Yes? That's it. Ship's only as good as a captain. Everyone agree? Yes. One more. Gentlemen? Yes, ma'am. Tina. Mm. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Right brain, creativity. If you're highly linear, then start cooking. Yes? If you're highly linear, then have a garden. If you're highly linear, learn to draw. Do something that is creative. It doesn't need to be beautiful, but model the excellence first so that it's fun for you. Is that cool? Your brain has neuroplasticity. You have infinite potential. If you're over 42, green and growing, not ripe and rotting. Green and growing, not ripe and rotting. All right? Terrific. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Is it okay? All good? Lovely. Good, good. Thank
Lovely.
you.
Keep clapping, guys,
Thank
for
you.
Alice Haemmerle.
Thank you. Thank you much,
Well
Stephen. Go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice. That was amazing. We could have gone forever, couldn't we?
Yes.
There's just so much information that Alice knows. Did you guys love that? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is just, we are just really scratching the surface, aren't we?
Just beginning.
Beginning. So I got to spend 7 days with Alice probably 2 years ago, and I went down there one way and I came back a totally different person.
Thank you.
And yeah, it was amazing, and that's why I love her so much.
So those 7 days are going for us as well.
Yeah, sure. All right, well, I've actually brought this up. Any questions, first of all, besides that one? Any questions for Alice before she leaves stage? Yes.
I kind of missed that very last bit when you went from, and when your team goes from dependency to interdependency.
Yes,
Can
so
you
they-
do another sentence on that?
Yes, okay, so you go to dependency, where I can depend on you.
Yes.
So they can run the systems.
Yes.
Then we go to independency, where I can now do it my own. And in fact, I'll tweak it. I should improve my system. So if something has taken you 20 minutes, when I become independent and I can dependently do it at 20 minutes, I now should improve that system and get it done in 18 or 15. If I'm still doing it in 20 minutes, the systems don't improve.
Yeah.
Yes?
And as a leader, that transition from dependence to interdependent.
You give them little things to do.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the bit I was looking
Yeah,
for.
it's the little things. Don't ever give them a big thing, give them a little thing. If they can do a little thing, they can start doing the big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, little things.
All right.
If they can't take out the rubbish, you getting it? Don't give them something big.
Yes.
The little things they can do, and then they start to build their confidence and
So not
strength.
necessarily organically, you actually challenge them to become interdependent. Like,
Yes. Well, interdependence happens naturally. So there is nothing you need to do with interdependence. Interdependence is collaboration because everyone feels they're part of they're as responsible. They will run the business like it's their business. They will take care of the business and they will find ways to make it happen.
Okay.
That's the healthiest.
All right, that makes more sense. So building dependence to allow the interdependence to happen organically.
Yeah, you build dependence so the independence to happen, and the interdependence will happen naturally.
Got
Okay?
it? Thank you.
Pleasure, thank you.
So when you asked what sort of leader I wanted to be, I put down that I wanted to be a steward. So that fits in with this interdependency that I've got them to. Am I thinking, is that what I'm thinking?
And a steward's great because a steward's here to serve. The thing is you'll need to do is you'll need to step up and find what I would call a model of who is a steward, who is a strong leader. Not a person who's a slave, because stewardship and slave can sit very close. So don't ever be a slave in your business. That's why I tell you, gotta cut the Coke, literally. Stop drinking sugar. Start taking care of your health. When you take care of your health, the whole status of your business will rise. It's true. You start exercising and eating well, getting rid of all that processed, you show that what goes in actually matters. Okay? Terrific. Great.
And it's such a good example because for some people who aren't getting the results they want, listen to people like Alice. So modelling
Yes.
is amazing. If you're not getting the results and you're still drinking Coke as an example, and you're not looking after your body, then stop it and just try it and see what the results are. Yeah, there's proof that these methods get results. So you just need to back yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one last question. If there is one. No?
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, Matt?
I didn't catch the last bit about when you were talking about the person with the most behavioural flexibility.
Oh, person with the most behavioral flexibility. So the person who's the most adaptable, can change and adapt to situations, will control their world. Yes? So if we go hiking, okay, let's say we go hiking, Matt, and you show up and you haven't packed everything in your bag, right? Then I have to actually make sure I've got enough in my bag to take care of you, right? The person who has the most behavioral flexibility will be going up the mountain and noticing things that have to happen, are able to look at all the other systems, because I'm a system, you're a system, the environment itself is a system, the plants and the animals are systems, and if I can adapt to them and react to them in the most behavioral flexible way, then I will control my world. I will have power. I'll be empowered. If I can't control my system, then somebody else has to take care of me. And that moves you to codependency. So the person, that's what gives you responsibility. So the greater your responsibility, this is what I said to the kids, the more responsibility, the more ability to respond you have, the more freedom you have. Because that means you can go into all sorts of different systems. You can go into Asia, because you understand that system, yes? You can go to North America, because you understand that system. You stay in Wollongong only, that's the system you know. True? You stay in Sydney, that's a system you know. The minute you venture down to Melbourne, ooh, Victoria, it's a crazy place. That's it, yeah. Oh, yeah. You might go to the Northern Territory. Oh, whoa, crazy people up there. You know what I'm saying? If they become crazy, you're not controlling the system, but you become curious. And the way you do it is through curiosity. So the moment you want to move into a new system, you must let go of all fear and be incredibly curious. You bring out what I call that childlike wonder. Yeah? And you go, how do you do that? Oh, you eat that like that. Versus, ew, I don't eat that. Eat it. Try it. Give it a go. Walk the talk of where you go until you can feel that area. Yeah, and that's the moment. Is that helpful? Terrific. Pleasure. Sir?
I'm just going to say that's why we're all here, because we're curious.
You are. And the more, see how when you sit up in your chairs, the more you sit back in your chairs, you've turned off. Just so you know, whenever you're learning anything, sit. Is your mouth watering? My mouth's watering. Is your mouth watering? You know it's mouth watering? It's mouth watering?
Yes,
If your mouth isn't watering, you're dry to the information, literally. There's a big brain's going, If your mouth gets watery, you want more. You're hungry for it. So when you're learning something, apologize, one last thing. I've got 1,000 things to say. I apologize. I do 50,000 words a day, a minute, an hour, anyway. Really quickly, when you eat and when you learn something that you don't enjoy, drink something enjoyable. So have a favorite tea or have something you like that you eat so it gets your mouth watering. Limbic brain is happy, dopamine gets produced, and your neural pathway gets that hormone inside the neurotransmitter, and it actually helps you learn. It's an anchor now to that experience, as opposed to, oh, I've got to do my taxes. When you do your taxes or your finances, put some really good music on, have your favorite peanut butter, do something that is really enjoyable, and do your taxes, rather than, I'm going to do it. Okay, just change the anchor.
That's how amazing Alice is, that everybody's mouth just start watering. Did it? Seriously?
Drink some
That is
water.
the influence. It's crazy. Anyway, we could do this like forever.
Forever. Okay, we'll stop.
We
Okay,
can't, we
okay.
can't. Another big round of applause for Alice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.